Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Frugal BC. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Got a really cool day today. We got Cassius Cuvee. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. He's got his own channel. He's a rapper and an algorand and other crypto influencer. So he's got some really interesting ideas. He's gonna come on about 10:30. So we got a little time before that, and I should grab water first, but we'll have time to do that. So in order to do that, I have to be on my Restream channel, which I've learned that there's a new thing called, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called. There's a new platform that he showed me. Oh, it's called Meld, and apparently it works really well. And integrates with OBS. So I'm definitely going to be looking into probably playing around with that this weekend because I love OBS. It just makes restreaming really easy. But the downside is that it's really hard when you bring in guests. It's a really complicated process, and I find it really annoying. Let's see what we got here. Guyan Kim says, "Hello, bro. I love algorand. Hey, welcome to the show, buddy. Good to have you here." Snail is here. He says, "Top of the morning to you. Welcome to you." And Mike Litteris says, "Good morning. Love your content." Hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, if you guys are want to hit that like button right away so we can grow. I want to get a good audience for when Cassius comes on. I've been friends with him on Twitter for a while. John Finnerty says, "Good afternoon." Good afternoon, my friend. And yeah, we're going to have a fun day today. We are streaming on YouTube as well as Kick and Twitch. Still kind of deciding. Haven't really had a ton of traction with either one. I think it just might be a thing that maybe I'll just start streaming to X again, and I'll just pick one at Kick. Or I don't know if it even matters. I've got a few more followers on Kick than I do Twitch, so we'll see. How's the video look? Does it look choppy? I think it looks kind of choppy on my end, like a little bit. I don't know if there's much I can do about it when I go through. And let's see. I'm sorry, I can't read. Can't read Arabic, but it looks like I know you're saying algorand to the moon. So whoever that is, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on here. And so yeah, it should be really interesting having him on. Again, let me know about the video. How is it looking on your end? Because even in my feed, it looks a little choppy, especially when I switch to screen sharing. I did clean up my desktop a little. I know that helps a lot. In fact, I'm still kind of doing it at the moment. And I could see it going faster. As soon as I did stuff, it just started going faster, which is really interesting. Oh, it looks fine. Okay, great. Is it 20% algo now? John Finnerty says he has like 23.55. I haven't looked in a little while. This morning it was still over 24. And it's interesting because the price is going up. And yeah, we're going full algorand today, although it's full of fur. It's always full of fur. You just can't win. So you just have to forgive me on that. Well, I'm glad the video looks good. It looks a little slow on my end. Don Tukum, welcome to the show. He says, Frugal BC, what do you think of FIFA joining Avalanche blockchain? Well, I think it sucks. How's that for an answer? I don't get it. I guess they really wanted access to the EVM chain, which is the only thing that makes sense because of the user base, but it's through Avalanche. So I don't know if it gives you that much help. So I don't know why they did that. We're definitely, that's probably one of the things Cassius and I will talk about later on the show. But yeah, it's just really confusing to me. Everything was working great on Algorand. Why you wouldn't just keep going with Algorand when it works? Very surprising. I know user base is really important to a lot of these people, and Algorand's user base has been growing, but it's still not where people want it to be. In market cap of 50 right now, it's been fluctuating. Actually, let me just pull it up. I'm not going to share the screen yet. We'll do that later. Yeah, it's sitting at 50 right now. It is 23.58 cents as I look. So, and did you guys notice that Vestige totally changed its look? And I don't really like it. I really liked it when they had just the charts front and center. Like that was now I have to kind of hunt for them, and I don't really like that. I guess I'm starting to get used to it, but I found that kind of annoying. Yeah, I noticed for some reason my camera's kind of blurring out a little bit. Yeah, because there it's really sharp. So one thing about nice equipment. Let's see. Dai Guyan Kim says, "What do you think is the reason why algorand is not known by more or by many people?" It's a big competitive landscape, and when you start dropping down in the market cap, people start paying a little less attention to you. So I think that's a good question. Snail with groceries addressed him, said, "Kim, good question, but from what we see, no other chain does more marketing commercials and dev meetings." Um, yeah, at least now. I don't think it always was like that. I think Algorand's marketing was really bad until the new CMO came on, and I think he changed it a lot. And so there's a lot of people you'll see people say stuff that they're still annoyed by the marketing, and I think that's really interesting because I don't necessarily see that. Um, I think they're reacting to the old days when the marketing was really bad, and that's a bummer. But I don't think that's the case anymore. But people have a hard time, getting over that, I guess. Let's see. John Finnerty says over 2 billion algo is now staked. Yeah, for sure. I saw that too. Very nice to see that. You notice they reduced the number of nodes. I think there was some miscounting, so the estimations of how high the nodes actually weren't quite correct, and they've been changing that around. Uh, Snail is saying, not a big fan of Vestige change, but getting used to it. Yeah, yeah, and I get it. I think they're trying to pivot to be more of a trading platform. Tiny is supposed to be also have these limit orders and stuff, these features, but they've been talking about it for weeks and it never comes. So, and that kind of gets to like, what's the amount of lead time that you should promote something like that? Is it a few days? Is it a week, 2 weeks, a month? I think there definitely is a tipping point. If you said something like 4 times that it's coming and you haven't said when and it isn't there yet, I think people start getting a little suspicious. Well, we got a nice little audience today, and if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. I really want to grow the likes because the likes will start as likes pour in. More people will see it. So if you haven't liked it, just go ahead and hit the like button. It really helps out. I want to get a nice little audience for Cassius. Hopefully, leading to more guests coming up. So Snail says for sure. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. And if you haven't subscribed already, you really ought to, because we're really pumping out the content here, doing around 2 to 3 videos a week and a live stream, sometimes more. And sometimes I like to clip some. Today I probably won't. I don't know if I'll do a lot of clips from this live stream, depending on the video quality. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I did shut a lot of tabs off, and I have most of my apps off, and I did a lot to clean up my. I don't need that one. I did a lot to clean up my desktop too, so that should make a difference. At some point, I have to get like a really high-powered PC. That's just going to be a must at some point. Well, why don't we look at charts? So we'll do that first. And it's a fun week, By the way, sure there it is. I mean, Bitcoin a little bit below, get a little pullback now. Bitcoin at 109. We had hit 111. I saw it at. And why don't we pull this up really quick? Speaking of, you remember how slow my Mac used to be that I streamed on? Yeah, so even we're just about hitting that 112 mark, just below it, before taking a little dip down. That's all good. Kind of fun to look at the weekly chart. Look how much we're up on Bitcoin from 103, dipping even below it. But we've been at 100. How long have we been at over 100? Where's that mark? Yeah, since May 8th, and I think we hit 100K and everyone's just kind of like, okay, that's great. Now that we're hitting regularly over, we spent a pretty long time over 100, and which is pretty impressive. So I like to see that. And yeah, I was just thinking like it finally feels like what 2017 and 2021 felt like, where it's like you're actually kind of excited about how much it's you look at the markets and you're excited every day. That's what it's supposed to feel like in these bull markets. Anyway, Mike Latera says Stacy will not be speaking at Proof of Talk now. That's interesting. Yeah, and Ethereum is still, could probably use a little waking up. Well, it really fell a lot in the last few hours. Even this morning, things were looking pretty good, and we're kind of pulling back a little bit. I'm not really worried about that. Solana not pulling back. It's at 182. That's pretty good. But alts are still below their high from this cycle, so we got some ways to go. Solana was at 220 something, maybe even 230, definitely 220 something. I took some profits on that. Yeah, Sui fallen a lot. Sui was at almost $4, and it fell a lot since the big hack yesterday. I'm sure that's something Cassius and I will probably talk about when he comes on. Yeah, that was rough. It also brought these questions about, what does it mean to be decentralized if all the validators can just say, oh yeah, we can blacklist this address. I mean, I understand why they would want to do that, but also that's not very decentralized. And so, yeah, this pullback on Sui does not surprise me at all. Hyperliquid is an interesting one. Chainlink's still $18. My buy-in is around 14, 15, something like that. So I'm not really up too much. Hedera, my buy-in is at like 4 cents. So I'm happy to see that. Anything 20 cents is really good. Although I'll tell you what, I tried on Saucer Swap to do some DeFi. I wanted to test out some DeFi, and the V2 pools give you like a really good return, but if it gets outside a certain range, it just stops. So it kind of protects against impermanent loss, I guess, but it also, I don't know, it was weird the way it worked. Nothing on algorand works that way, where it just stops and then you just can't do anything with it until it rebalances, which, by the way, it was at like 30 some cents when it did that. So it's been stuck on there for a while. I don't love that. That just means you're just not earning. Near at 295, not too bad, but we were up to like $7 near or something like that. So, a lot of these coins were still really far behind, which means if you wanted to buy in, you wouldn't necessarily be late. You might not be the earliest, but you're not necessarily late. So if there's some stuff that you hadn't bought already, yeah, algorand fall a little more even since we talked. How's that showing up, by the way? Pretty good, looks like. Let's see. Snail says, she's talking about Stacey Warden says, she only gets hate. I don't blame her if anything. Her speaking or not change the technology, just a few bad actors that are upset the numbers and going up. Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Stacey gets a lot. There's stuff she did that I didn't care for. I thought donating to this bike charity was just really a really poor decision, especially a chain that's like trying to find sustainability. It just seemed like a really bad idea to me. But I don't think her level of hate that she gets is deserved by any means. I gotta go grab some water. But here's the chart. You can think about Cosmos a little bit too, because man, I remember Cosmos last cycle hit 20 some dollars, and I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. I have my Cosmos staking still earning like 12 or 13%. So it earns quite a bit more than Algorand's staking, just to be clear. I think now they're taking a little percentage. It was free through the end of the year, I believe. So anyway, let me grab that water. I'll be right back. Okay, easy peasy. How is Avalanche doing? Is that one of the top ones? Yeah, I mean, it's market cap number 14, so this is why this might be one of the reasons why FIFA thought it was a good idea. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it. I actually disagree with it, but that might be something where they thought, okay, EVM, and they got a top chain, top 20 chain. I can see why they would do it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think they're wrong, but I could see why. But I do think they're wrong. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any outliers. Virtual's protocol did okay. Yeah, dog with hat, dude. I'm so far down. I on a whim, I bought some dog with hat when it was like $3. So I'm really screwed on that one. Not my best. Not my best decision. XDC network is down. Where's Bobby Jonas at? XDC is my little buddy who likes to say Algorand sucks and XDC is the real Ethereum killer. Well, hasn't killed it yet. It's probably coming, huh? Yeah, Gala at 2 cents. Gala's been 2 cents for a long time. I tell you, Gala, I think this is one of the worst failed projects in crypto. Just not a fan. If you're gonna have a game, focus on making good games and make the NFTs and the blockchain secondary. In their case, it was like an excuse to sell NFTs, basically. I mean, none of the games are any of the games not in beta? I think Townstar is technically still in beta, or it was not that long ago. Yeah, Helium is still over $4. So I like this one because I've been using Helium Mobile and it's a great service. Helium Mobile is cost me like $20 a month if I don't earn enough rewards to pay the bill, which most months I do. So most months it's actually free, and it can work on whatever unlocked phone you have. I don't even have a affiliate code or anything. I really probably should because I do like it. The only thing with it is the beginning sucks, or the onboarding is really really bad. Let's go back through, and guys, just to be clear, when I'm in the screen share mode, it's like I can with OBS. So I'm going to try to come back and go back and forth a little bit. I agree. Alt season hasn't started, but by then maybe they pass bills to limit the number of altcoins. We'll see. I bought Algo at $2. Yeah. Well, hopefully we get over $2 at some point here. But I'll say that there was a lot of time. We still have time, frankly, to dollar cost average a little lower if you wanted to. Honestly, FRK may be bigger than FIFA could have been. I know some people disagree, but if we can scale some market share from DraftKings, etc. Yeah, and I think it's better than DraftKings because those are predatory. This is like pretty straightforward. You just make a prediction and you win, you lose. What a lot of people don't understand about gambling sites is if you actually know what you're doing well enough to beat the system, they just cut you off. So, I mean, stuff like DraftKings or any of those other ones, they're just a waste of time. So don't do them. You can do, but nobody seems to want to go after them, but they want to go after the prediction markets, which are much more pure, and they don't operate from a stance of, well, if you do really well, we're going to cut you off. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Alpha Arcade is fire percent. Plus, you can invest in the Alpha Arcade token, which I've done, and I've been trying. You can earn a lot, like just by it's something like it's been between 6 and 10% paid out in USDC right to your Algorand wallet you just get a little, and that's like your cut of the fees. So I think that's kind of cool. I'd be nervous at this point to take a huge position in it, little position. Let's see what, oops. Yeah, see, so you can, or this page right away. Explore the ecosystem, and then you get to the page where we were. Here we are. It's almost at 2 cents now. So my little thesis on Tiny hasn't been great. It's been the rewards are going down because the price is going down. Algorand, like we said, I mean the weekly candle looks great, of course, but we got a little pullback in the last day or so. Still, that's higher than we were not that long ago, so it's nice to see. Polka Gold doing nicely at 4 cents. Chips, chips really climbing up, huh? That's nice to see. Voltcoin, we got Everyday Algonaut in the chat. That's his token. He's in here sometimes. D5, that will. They got those little weird numbers in there for. That's weird. Monko having a nice little climb. Wonder what my Monko is worth. Hold on, I'm gonna pull this up off screen. I just want to see what. Oh yeah, cool. Still under $100. I don't know who sent me the Monko, but they did. Might have been Monko itself. I don't really know. There's Coop sitting around just under 2 cents. Moon Juice Rocket Fuel. I know I got some fans of that in the chat. That stupid Oculus coin. I just want that to go away. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a fan. Yeah, Alpha Arcade. Yeah, I want to show this one because I was just talking about Alpha. I mean, it's just, this is a really interesting chart, isn't it? Oh, Everyday is here. Hey, welcome, Everyday. We're just looking at your coin as I mentioned it. Yeah, just a reminder, I have to kind of poke back and forth on this platform to see the chat because I'm not on OBS because we got a guest coming on. But there's a new free platform that I'm going to try out because if it's free and I think it'll actually work better than the browser, I'll be doing that. So it'll probably work a lot better. But yeah, look at this chart. You know, they've done a lot of work to keep it fairly steady, and then it had this little pump, and then it's just steady again. So that's crazy. It's almost, I don't want to say like a stable coin because it's a little more fluctuation than you'd expect from a stable coin, but that's pretty stable by comparison to most ASAs. And I really got to make I'll have to make a video on my experiment sometime soon, but yeah, so nice to see that from Alpha. Let's see what some people have to say. Every down, I noticed. Thanks. Yeah. It's great. Let's see. Oh, I would love to run an algo node. Is it still 1 Gbps upload required? I'm not sure about that. I would check it out. You know, you can always test it out. I know the requirements are really low in terms of hardware. I know that's what they recommend, but you know, the other option is that you can just do ready pools, and the fees are pretty low, so you're not that far behind what you would be running a node, and then you take all the worry away from it. And this is my big challenge, and so I'm going to pull this back up. This is my big challenge because now I'm doing liquid staking through Tiny Man, and it's impossible to track if. Well, no, it's really hard to track your progress. That's what drives me nuts. And so I have liquid staking, and then I have the liquid staking token paired with USDC. So I only have about half exposure to Algorand price appreciation that I would if I just was staking Algorand, which makes me worried. And now that the rewards are going down, I'm going to have to do this doesn't look good. You know, it was pretty stable. It tended to be between 5 cents. And lately it's just slowly doing that ASA curve down that I usually the start of it. I mean, it started at 2 cents. It hasn't really gone too much below 2. Actually, I don't know if it's ever been 2 cents, so that's pretty good, but it does make staking a little difficult. So I've been debating whether to switch over to just joining a ready pool. I don't think I want to run a node. I just don't want to think about it. You do have to do some maintenance. They do go down every once in a while. I know. Is anyone here running a node? I'm just curious about that. Snail says that's the algorithm for you. It'll blast off out of nowhere. Yeah. By the way, before our guest comes on, I do want to give a shout out to Non-Fungible Domains, one of our sponsors. They provide those .algo addresses that make doing everything in algorand so much easier. So do give them a big shout out. And if you don't have a .algo address, I just recommend getting it. It just makes doing everything a ton easier. If you have leaderboards for different games, it shows up. It's just really hard to encapsulate all the ways that a .algo address really helps you, but I highly recommend it. And then we're also a big fan of Marcus. And why don't we just pull up Marcus? So Marcus is a meme coin and NFT project on the Algorand blockchain. That's a nice little chart. Had a little dip and came back up. What I like about Marcus is, there's a purpose behind it. He's trying to spread the word about Stoic wisdom, which I'm a big fan of Stoicism. So I think it's super cool what the project is doing, and they're a big supporter of Frugal BC. So we're happy to have them. And I got links for both of those for Non-Fungible Domains and Marcus in the description below. Let's see what else we talk about. We got Cassius coming on in a few. We'll be here in a few minutes. Hey, Catlin Guzman. Hello. What's going on, brother? Good to have you here. Everyday Algonaut says he runs a few nodes. If you had any, have they gone down at all? Have you had to do some maintenance on them? Just curious. Odin Nosferatu, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. He says, I have a few unrelated nodes. Algo node needs fast internet, though. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it seems to be the one requirement that's maybe like a little tricky is the node. It looks like it got Cassius in the green room, so we'll be bringing him on soon. Yeah, Catlin pops in every once in a while. Good to see him, and I think we should bring on our guest right now. So let me get rid of the screen share. Hopefully it goes back to. Oh, has it not gone back to normal? Is it just taking a while? Oh, here we go. Oops, here we go.
Yo, what's poppin', man?
Cassius, what's going on?
Man, I just got
good to have you here, man.
Bro. Look, my hair is all messed up.
Really?
I'm like, gotta change the camera frame.
I was thinking about that. That's kind of early for where you are.
Well,
huh?
I've been up. I have my Friday call. I got my alpha group, my private alpha group on Friday mornings. Not my private Discord group, but just like my group of guys who we share a game and everything like that. And I was tapped into Randy Hipper's show. I got some news to make about that as well. But thanks for having me on, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, one of the things I wanted to start with is I love hearing people's crypto origin story. So, well, I should introduce you first. So you are both a rapper and a crypto influencer, and you've had some pretty big appearances at some of these crypto conferences, huh?
Oh yeah, I performed at a lot of them. Performed at the Influencer Awards. Won an Influencer Award. It's behind me on the desk there. Look, it's a belt, a championship belt. But yeah, I've been in crypto since really not until 2021. I was in TradFi before that, stocks, trading, stuff like that. And yeah, I've had some pretty big music videos that got me on CNBC and said this is before crypto actually, about SPACs. And then also once I found Bitcoin and stuff, there was no looking back. So went to the 2021 Bitcoin conference. There wasn't one in 2020. And man, it's just been no looking back. Met so many people there. When I had that first song go viral, and it was early February 2021, everyone was like, you should make an NFT. And I said, what the hell is an NFT? You know what I'm saying? And so finally I had someone explain, like I had heard of Bitcoin, but someone explained to me what blockchain was. And then I was like, oh, you had me at hello. Like, I just wish I had known about this so long ago, which is why my passion, if you will, is to try to bring awareness to this as much as possible. Cause there's so many people like no one in my family, no one in my city, nobody anywhere around me had ever even mentioned like what blockchain is. And so I'm like, now I got to tell as many people as I can, be as loud a voice as I can, because now people can't say they never heard of it. You know what I mean? Like, that's not why they didn't get in. They didn't get in for a different reason other than blind ignorance, So that's really what my passion is to try to spread awareness to this. So that way, at least there's an opportunity out there.
Yeah. Well, when you were coming in, so that would 2021 is kind of when things were popping off a little bit, and how did you deal with the bear market that typically follows that?
Oh man, so the bear market, so I was trading hardcore like stocks, right? When I got into crypto, then I started, especially after the song kind of blew up and stuff. I didn't even have a lot of followers on my YouTube channel and like that. And I've been making music for a long time, but I kind of just rebranded, came out and everything came back to music. And then the pandemic hit. And so I kind of had put music on hold again. And then after, but I'm an artist, man. I'm a live artist. I'm a die artist. It's just who I am. And I'm always been a reality type of rapper. So like I'm talking about whatever's going on in my real life. And so, of course, you're at home trading and shit all day. It only makes sense. And that's what I was going to write about. And so, and I'm an in real life type of guy too. I was never really an internet type of person. So I wasn't really on Twitter or anything like that until I started learning about trading. So what happened was when I first started doing trading, that song blew up. I mean, I kind of figured it would. I kind of planned it perfectly. If you guys haven't seen SPAC Dream, you should look for it on my YouTube channel. But, I got on CNBC, Wall Street, cover of the Wall Street Journal and stuff like that. And, but I really do, I was really into every day, all day long, in finance. And so when it was February, it was the day after the Super Bowl, when CNBC played my music video on TV, that's everything popped off. I was like, okay, I want to lean into the music side of things. So I started, searching crypto projects, and I started becoming more of a long-term investor, right? And I was holding and stuff like that. And this is February. So then, Bitcoin pumped one more all-time high before we had, summertime lulls, and again, back to all-time high again, August and November. At that time period, I'd say altcoins pumped really hard. So that was when I was like, okay, I was already a believer, but that's when I was became more of a long-term investor. Now, unfortunately, to answer your question about the bear market, I did have a lot of money in Celsius. So I was happy to see Alex Machinsky get sentenced to jail, to prison. But anyways, that kind of hurt, you know what I mean? Because I was being a long-term investor. I had parked a lot of my cryptos and stuff, and even some stable coins I was going to use to buy the dip type of stuff. So that kind of hurt. But then I got back to my roots as far as like just being a trader. So now what I'm doing is, of course, I still have my long-term bags. I never sold any algorand, that's for sure. So I have my nice. Algorand bags and my high conviction altcoins as well as some Bitcoin. But now I'm doing a lot of teaching leverage trading, high level leverage trading on FIMX, or even prop firm trading on breakout prop. So that's what I'm really teaching now, kind of laser focused on that. And then, of course, I still make music. And so now I have my Sunday show where I drop a weekly recap rap every week. So tune in 2 days on Sunday at noon Pacific time. I'm gonna be giving a shout out to everybody in my private Discord, but also in the rap, I tell you what happened during the week, and then we go over the charts. We look at our indicators, and we see, I do a lot of short-term trading. I mean, we can always do long-term trading. Short-term trading is more challenging in some respects, but like leverage means that you can have a larger size position with only a little bit amount of your own risk. And so you want to learn how to do that appropriately. And that's what I teach on my channel largely now.
Yeah, that's cool. I like asking that because I mean, my crypto origin goes back to like 2017. And, I started seeing like the yearly returns broken down on Bitcoin. I was like, well, that just makes sense. It just keeps going up. And I was looking at, it's funny because I was looking at Bitcoin like way back in the day when it was, I remember looking at it when it was, several Bitcoin were less than $1, right? And thinking like, well, that's interesting. And then I saw it go up, and I thought, then I saw it go up to where, Bitcoin is worth like a few dollars a piece. And I thought, that's probably the end of that. And it's just going to come back down. And then next time it was $100 some. I'm like, huh. And so finally 2017, I'm like, all right. And I didn't know anything about the cycles. I didn't know anything about that. So I just thought, all right, I should probably just start buying this. And it's 2017 was right before it popped off. So like that was like summer 2017. And then the end of 2017, it popped off, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. All of a sudden I have, 10 times my money. I'm like, all right, I'm taking this off and calling it a win. And then I just like, man, I'll just forget about that crypto stuff.
you forgot about it after that win, huh? It was like wham, bam, thank you, bam, huh?
And then a while back, I thought, oh, maybe I should get into this again. And then I just did the same thing in 2021 where it popped off again and, took some profits. And then And that's when I started. 2021 is kind of when I started making content. So I've been around, I've been around in crypto since like 2017. I've been invested, but it wasn't until 2021 that I started making content. And then I really started learning about it. And so that's kind of my origin story. And I think when you come into crypto can often kind of determine how your outlook is a little bit toward it,
Oh,
I think.
absolutely.
Or
Timing,
at least
because it's such a volatile asset class that, like a lot of people have a bad taste in their mouth that they got in at the top, right? I mean, understandably so, right? And even, I mean, listen, we're on here because we like Algorand, right? So even like Algorand,
yeah.
we should tell our Algorand origin stories is what we should. Can I say shout out to the chat though? I see you guys out there, 6A and Doug and some other folks. So appreciate you guys for tapping in here. I mean, it's the first time I'm a guest on this show. We've been following each other a long time on Twitter and supporting each other.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Algo fam for sure. So thanks for having me on. But tell me your Algorand origin story, and then I'll tell you mine.
Oh, totally. And yeah, by the way, shout out to Shark HP in the chat. Appreciate you being here. Marcin is here. Welcome to the show. And yeah, 6 a.m. Doug, is it my guy Cassius Cuvee? I like it. Yeah, and guys, definitely give this guy a subscription. Go check out his channel. I watched some of it this week. It's good stuff. So, and yeah, like I said, we've been Twitter fans for a while. Yeah, Algorand, it's super interesting because I was I'm kind of a yield guy. Like I really like yield more than I don't do a lot of trading and stuff like that. I do long-term holds and then I look for yield. And it's kind of funny because it started with, I had a bunch of money in Tezos, which had yield on Coinbase. And then this thing called Algorand popped up and the yield was better. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll check that out. So then I was just, I was farming some yield on Coinbase from Algorand, just like it was just staking. I didn't really know that at the time. And then I learned that Coinbase, like all of a sudden they cut it off. So there was they weren't going to do staking anymore. But I learned that if I held it in the wallet, not only would I be able to earn yield, but I actually get a little more. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn how to get an Algorand wallet. So I got my own. It was my algo at the time, which RIP my algo because that was bad. And then I remember when for some reason I just happened to see the day that Yieldly launched. I saw a story about it, and I was like, hey, I got Algorand. I got to check this out. All right, so
Yieldly.
Then I got into the whole farming LPs, and then I started questioning some of it because I'm like, well, hold on a second. Because if the asset, because you see some of these LPs with these really obscure ASAs, and they'd have really high APR, like in the thousands.
Right.
And I started to suspect, I'm like, wait a minute, am I losing more in the token going down than I am in the yield? And it turned out, yeah, that's really possible. So I did a series of experiments. Yeah. Unfortunately, most of them are lost to this platform that had popped up a while back called NifGen. I made those like an exclusive on that platform, and that just disappeared. So it's an egg on my face, I guess.
Oh, well,
and I found out,
we all had some sort of egg on our face in the bear market. So if it wasn't one thing, it was another. If you were in, something happened. So you beat yourself up. I mean, we all took shots on that one. That's for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah. So I found out I did the experiment. I tried 3 different yield farms and I tracked them meticulously for 8 months. And I learned, you definitely have to be careful about what coins you're selecting. So my principle is I always like to have a stable coin with whatever coin it is. Like I like USDC Algorand. Right now it's T Algo USDC because of it's part of the liquid staking on Tinyman. But yeah, then I just got more and more into Algorand. And the main thing is because when I tried platforms, because like I said, I like yield. So the platforms actually work, which is, I can't always say on other platforms I've tried out, they just don't always work.
The chain works. Give the mother jerks a heart attack. Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say. And so if you guys don't know, I made the song with AJ Writes Crypto called Just Pay Me an Algo. Called Pay Me in Algo, which is the NFTs, which he was talking about earlier. I own that NFT. I own a bunch of NFTs. Pay Me in Algo is an NFT. And so that's the song, and I talk about it. But I got another funny one. Okay, I gotta say, because you mentioned Yieldly, I had the CEO of Yieldly on my show. So if you guys don't know, go back in 2022 on my YouTube channel. I had a show called Poppin' Crypto with Cassius Cuvee. So I went to the first, it wasn't the first crypto conference. I guess it was the first altcoin conference I ever went to, was Decipher in Miami in 2021. Right, so this is right before Art Basel started. Right, so rewind real quick. It was at the Bitcoin conference. I met my man Crypto Nick, and he was the first person to tell me about algorand. In fact, it wasn't until we had like a visual video meeting, like after I got back home. And basically, he was like, Silvio McCally's a genius. Who the hell is Silvio McCally? And that's when he started telling me about it. And then like someone in your chat just said, like, once I used algorand and I, got sick of ETH and everything else, the gas fees and failed transactions. I was like, what are we doing here? And I'm like, this has got to be the future, right? First of all, it's cheap, fast, cheap, and easy is just another part of that. CK, and I ain't even talking market cap, so I was like, it's just too easy. You don't go back. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, after using it was really when you're like locked in, but also learning about Silvio and, inventor of zero knowledge proofs, all that stuff. But so at Decipher in 2021, I met, I was in the back or whatever, talking to people and whatnot. And I met Seb Quinn, the founder, CEO of Yieldly. And so he was one of the first guests on my show, Popping Crypto. So I have a rap about Yieldly Finance. I don't know if you want to pull it up now. People can go check my YouTube channel, but I had a lot of bangers on that show. So what I would do in Popping Crypto, I'd interview founders and CEOs of Web3 projects. Before I do the interview, I had like a DJ, my homeboy, DJ Lex was back there cutting the record. And then it'd be like, get Yieldly Finance. And then I would go and do the rap, right? Live form. And then we do the interview. So I actually have a rap about Yieldly because I was all in Yieldly, this crazy APYs you're talking about. And then, it didn't take long before you realize, when the bear market comes and you're losing more in token value, you know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, a lot of it was experimental. I didn't just experiment with algorand. I'm one of those guys. So I experiment, I probably had 100 cryptos, I would experiment with all kinds of stuff. But that's also why, as I sit here and talk to you today, I still have my bag of algo because I'm like, okay, look, if Web3 is going to be a thing, like if using crypto rails is going to be a thing, like this chain still works. What I mean? Like a lot of other projects are gone or they're games or whatever, but like the chain still works. So that's not a promise that the whole world's going to adopt it, but like it still works great. So it's like one of those things that like, if we stop doing all the goofball stuff, businesses and real enterprises want to have a working public blockchain. Algorand's on the short list. You know what I'm saying? Like they're for sure on the short list. And I don't see why I should dump my bags now. Because by the way, the tokenomics used to be the only criticism of it, but like now it's worked out in our favor where we got a really hard cap supply. And so it's like, all we need is adoption. You know what I mean? All we need is real world, like institutional adoption too. I don't care if the weirdos on Twitter don't like it. I really don't. You know what I mean? If we're doing large amounts of transactions and data transfers every single day, every single minute, then, there's going to be demand for the token. So that's how I look at it. And that's why, sometimes you're married to your bags. You don't love them as much as you used to, right? That's how life is sometimes. but I will say that, I'm not selling my algo bags anytime soon.
That's awesome. Well, you interact with a lot of other crypto influencers, and I know you mentioned AJ, and I know AJ is a huge algorand fan. That's kind of how I got connected with him. Been on his show a couple times. He came on here once too. But what about some of the other folks? What do you hear from some of the other influencers around algorand? What's the sentiment there?
So for me personally, like talking to people like Altcoin Daily, like personally hanging out with all these guys, right? Because I used to, that was the other thing I used to do. So I used to travel around and go to the conferences, speak on panels, perform sometimes, that kind of stuff. So yes, I do know a lot of the other bigger influencers, whatnot. And I personally tell them about it. And usually the answer is they just haven't tried it yet. Usually. Because if you had, after comparing it to ETH and all the other, all the ones that fail, Solana failed transactions and all the little things. Like this is one little nuanced thing I never hear anybody say because it's like in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important. But like I was staking my Solana, okay? But when you go to unstake your Solana, if you have all of your Solana staked, you can't get it out because you need a little bit for a transaction fee, right? So just like Silvio McCally thought of every little thing. Like when you go to stake your algorand, they always automatically leave a little bit in there. I think XRP does that too, right? So you can always transact. And there's like little shit like that. Like other blockchains, y'all just didn't think about that shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, we don't need to be waiting for some new technology to be invented. Like it's already here. It's like when ETH became proof of stake, I'm like, wow, they came all the way up to the back of the line of all the proof of stake protocols. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. Like, if that's what you wanted to be proof of stake, then there's a million other better options, So it, to me, is like the other influencers just probably haven't tried it yet. They haven't used it yet, And if you're only going by price action, okay, well, price action, man. I don't know what to tell you, Price is price. If you think that price action is connected to fundamentals, I got a bridge to sell you. And that's, by the way, I had a long discussion with my private group with a guy about it. That's actually true in TradFi as well. Like, I'm sorry, but like GameStop wouldn't be a thing if, you know what I'm saying? Like if fundamentals mattered. So this is why I'm always like, okay, I mean, obviously for long-term holds, I want good fundamentals and good tokenomics, right? You can't hold something that has bad inflation, right? That you just can't do that. Someone in the chat asked me about H-bar. Yes, I do have a big bag of H-bar as well. That's one of my, again, short list of long-term hodls, because if something good happens, you know what I mean? Like, that's one of them ones. So yeah, algorand, H-bar, you know, those are some of the two of my top two. Like ICP, more so because it's something like totally different. You know what I mean? It's one of those almost outside the box ones if it catches on. You know, XRP, totally. I think, has a big chance. Obviously, it was one of the top performers. There's only 8 cryptos, you guys, that outperformed Bitcoin that were from the last cycle. Everything else that outperformed Bitcoin was new coins, meme coins, or whatever that came up. Everything from the old school, there's only 8. XRP is one of them. BNB is one of them. Solana's one of them. Tron is another one. People actually use Tron, right? I'm a person who uses crypto a lot. I'm transferring funds around and stuff. When you use it and you want to see something fast, cheap, and easy, like, why does Coinbase and these other ones don't have algorand? That'd be perfect, you know? So, you know, yeah, Tron and stuff, but like algorand be equivalent to that, like be hella fast, and it works. So it's one of those things that, like, if you actually use crypto a lot, I think you'll be stuck on algorand. I just don't see, I'm telling you, it's not like they used it and didn't like it. I've never heard that story before, right? And I was at the Influencer Awards 2 years ago in Vegas. There was a guy who built a DEX that had like 16 cryptos and stuff. Algorand's one of them. And a cross-chain DEX, right? He's like, actually, and I posted this on Twitter. So he's like, actually, we use Algorand for our back end to run the whole entire operation. We built it on Algorand because it's the best one. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yeah. Every time I hear about like an enterprise actually, you know, wanting to build something on crypto other than just chasing price action, they always choose Algorand. Why? It works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what did you think about the FIFA news then, where they went from Algorand over to AVAX?
Well,
I mean,
you know, FIFA was, listen, the FIFA news when it first came out only did so much for price action. I liked it as an example of the fact that it was, you know, that someone was using the blockchain for something more than just NFTs. They're using it for NFTs, but they're using it to run their ticketing and stuff. The thing about it is, though, from my understanding of the FIFA news, and maybe you'll know more about it, I didn't dive super deep into it. From my understanding of it, though, is that they basically want to start their own private chain. And so, you know, why they, you know, they, for whatever reason, they chose whatever their EVM or whatever they wanted to do, EVM compliant or whatever you call it, compatible. But they basically want to have their own chain. And I get it. Like, we just went through this whole meme coin season where it was like, why do I ever need to use someone else's if this is going to be a money grab? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, again, I mean, FIFA was one organization, but I don't look at it as a institutional ongoing thing like Visa or a nation state or a bank. You know what I mean? It's still kind of it's a big company, if you will, right? Just as the company, as the brand, but it's still kind of event driven. It's not quite so much a, you know, daily transaction for the rest of your life type of thing, you know?
Yeah, I guess I was a little frustrated by that, because, yeah, I guess that they're building on AVAX, which is a EVM chain, and it's already slower and more expensive than if they could have done their own token on Algorand too. And I guess I was a little surprised. One thing I know hedera very specifically decided to focus more on retail, because even if they're enterprise focused, you know, if they're going after these companies, those companies still want to see user growth. They want to see a number of users. And so you still have to, even if you're enterprise focused, you still have to appeal to retail. And, you know, I wonder if sometimes Algorand gets caught in the crossfire of that too. Although I think user growth has been pretty good. I mean, they keep posting higher and higher numbers. So I guess it sometimes does still kind of baffle me a little bit.
Here's the thing, right? All of us, price is king. We all, as investors, right? Obviously, price matters to us, right? I'm never going to say price doesn't matter. However, we are in crypto where something can literally 10x overnight. Something can literally 100x in a week. That's not a fake thing, right? And I made a post a long time ago. This was right when everything was pumping in like November, when Algorand was pumping. I was like, look, it can take 2 years to build, but only 1 week for hype. It literally can happen. You know what I mean? That's not a fake, literal thing. Is 100x in a month is not inconceivable. So, like, especially when you have good tokenomics or something where, like, all of a sudden there's a demand, or we call it a supply shock, I guess. You know what I mean? So that is something that is conceivable, which is why, like, I'll be damned if I sell my Algorand bags. Now, I got this. I mean, everyone has money is relative to it, but I have some pretty big Algorand bags. You know what I mean? Like, if Algorand wants to go to $2 or whatever, like some all-time high again, like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I could peel off some of that or whatever and diversify a little. I mean, I'm plenty diversified for long terms, but like, I'm not quitting now, because if it does go down, like it really could, it will be like the blink of an eye. All of a sudden, a bunch of I told you so's. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think that this cycle, overall, this crypto cycle, it started earlier. Everything happened faster and earlier this year, right? Obviously, we had the first all-time high before a halving ever in Bitcoin. And I feel like everything kind of came early, and Web3 still wasn't ready yet. You know what I mean? So I think it's still being building. It's still, you know, still regulations, all sorts of stuff. You know, obviously crypto's global. That makes it more complex. Algorand is kind of in some respects bigger in Europe, as far as being with nation states and whatnot and banks. And I feel like in the United States, you know, we're still sorting stuff out. And it's basically like we're just not there yet. But if Web3 is real, Algorand is going to be a big player. That's how I feel. I got Caitlin in the chat.
Totally.
I want to just respond to Caitlin in the chat because she specifically asked me about ICP. I've got to
Yeah, I
actually.
was going to bring that up.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I got an interview with the guy. So there's a guy who started a music app. It's already been filmed. We're editing it right now. We're going to put it out. ICP is you guys probably see I made a music video called HODL ICP, right? And so I kind of explain it because it truly is different. There's like a whole canister system and everything is on chain. So like it's not like a normal blockchain. So basically you have your own, like your NFT is not really like a single NFT. You have your own canister online, which is like your own portal to do everything online. It's basically, it's a decentralized cloud is what it is. So basically all the data and all the information is actually on the cloud. And so it's like different layer, like you really have to explain it differently than a blockchain. In the interview, because I have someone who built on it, he explains it better than I can right now. He's in the UK, but he built a music app on it. So we talk about his music app, and then basically all the royalties get split and everything like that. We do an example of it on the call, but then I have him speak a little more broadly about how ICP works. So that video is coming soon. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have that out. Hopefully, I don't know if he's going to get it to me before I go to the Bitcoin conference, but he's going to have that out. And there'll be more stuff coming on my channel. You guys, please subscribe to your boy Cassius Cuvee, man. I cover a lot of things, mostly trading now as far as the specifics, but I have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to a lot of projects and stuff like that as well. And I always respond to the chat. I respond to the comments. I will sometimes make a video about if someone asks me something in the comments. So definitely engage with me and I always engage back.
Very cool. And yeah, we do have a link to his channel in the chat. So go check that out. Still not too far down in the chat. Just a little scrolling and you'll find it. And yeah, it's really awesome. So I wanted to ask you, like, what are you doing anything with your Algorand? Are you just hodling it? Are you doing nodes or staking or anything like that?
I'm not. So I always would participate in the governance, right? And that ended. And I'm guilty over here. Gosh, I've been going a mile a minute. When I started live streaming, I started doing it every day. And then I cut back to a Sunday show so I can have more time during the week. And then I just focus on the weekly recap wrap, the charts. I want to start bringing on guests like you're doing here. Appreciate you having me. So, but I have not started staking yet. I need the easiest way. There was a tweet by Mark, and I tried to do it, and whatever reason I was getting an error message, and I couldn't. It wasn't connecting, which is rare in Algorand. I don't know what. If I think it was like the internet. I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't working. I tried on multiple devices and phones, and it kept on giving me the error, so I couldn't stake. So I'm currently not staking. I need to stake my algo because I'm not earning any yield on it right now. What do you recommend? What was the easiest way for you to connect your wallet?
I honestly think the easiest way is the ready pools, which I'm currently switching on. So I was kind of talking about this at the beginning because I've been doing liquid staking through TinyMan, which is more complicated, and you can get more yield because you can take the token that they give you and pair that up with USDC and earn more staking rewards through that. But the ready pools is a lot simpler, and to do the liquid staking and do the yield farming, you have to have half USDC, half Algorand, or T-Algo in this case. And the problem with that is you're actually not gaining on price appreciation. So if we think that Algorand is going to really pump this year, which I think it probably will, to some number like $1, $2, maybe $3, I'm only half exposed to that price appreciation. So it's kind of I've been thinking about in the next epoch, I might switch over and just put it all in ready pools, which is super simple. It's like a few button presses. I don't know if you use ParaWallet or what you use, but on ParaWallet, it's like you can do it right in the app, and it's super duper simple. Both of my sponsors, Non-Fungible Domains and Marcus Aurelius, both have their own ready pools. I think the fees are pretty small, and so and that's probably the easiest way to yield. And if you put like an even number, like if you put like, I don't know, 4,000 algo, you'll be able to pretty easily see how much you're gaining because the balance will just keep going up.
So I've had a little experiment. But you do have to swap your token. I want all my algo to stay in my wallet, which is why. So
yeah,
every day Algonaut is in the chat, and he says he likes Tiny or Folks. I used to do my staking on Folks, but then they give you the Algo X or whatever it was. I don't like doing that. I want to have all my own algo. I never want to have to ever take it out of my wallet again. And so that's
Then Ready Pool is the thing for you then,
okay.
for sure.
So I do that right inside
Yeah.
of right inside of my Para wallet. I've got Para and DFly. I
Yep.
got too many wallets. So I got them on iPhone.
Yeah.
I got them on Android. I got them on a laptop. So okay, I can do that. I didn't see that in there when I looked. I don't know. I'll take another look.
Yeah, if you go to it's called the Discover tab, it'll show you you'll be able to pull up the dApps, and I think actually, hold on.
The thing is too, it's different in. I was trying to try it in a smaller wallet first, which
I
is
take
on a
that
different
back.
phone.
I take that back. And this will be good. This will be good for the audience. Yeah, there's a little. If you pull out the wallet, there's a little stake tab.
Are you
next to
an
buy algo
iPhone or are
and
you an
swap?
Android?
I'm an iPhone.
Okay, I was trying to do it on my Android before. All right, so then you going to
I don't think
dApps?
it's different, but yeah, because you have the little portfolio value, and then under there's like 4 tabs underneath, and there's one that says stake, and it should be right in there.
Wait, on dApps or in just home?
Nope, just on your homepage there.
Oh, okay. So I got news.
earlier.
I got dApps on Para. Those are my only two.
Oh, really?
Yeah. First, so this is under Discover.
Oh yeah, no. Go to the home tab.
The home tab. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so home.
Yeah, I misspoke earlier.
Okay, on home tab, I just got my 2 accounts, and then you got to open it. You got to go on an account, right?
Yeah, no, don't go to the account.
Don't go to the account. Well, I ain't got nothing else on there. Then what?
If you're on the home tab, do you have a screen that says swap, buy algo, stake, and send?
Yes.
Okay,
Stake.
yeah, the stake one is where you would do that.
There we go. Okay, so let's see security protocol. Okay, which one do you use? You use a liquid. They got staking pools, liquid staking, and delegated staking. So the staking pools, liquid staking, and delegated staking. In which type do you do? You do liquid staking?
Yeah, so I would go to Ready Pool or Ready. It's the first one. Got the little
Ready. RETI. Yes. Ready. Okay, Ready. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Let me accept that. Terms and conditions. All right.
Yep, and there should be a list of validators. On mine,
okay, I'm connected.
Marcus is
I got to connect. I got more than one wallet in here, so I'm doing the smaller one first here.
Okay.
So I'm connecting one right now. So you got a staking dashboard. It is good to do this stuff live. This is what I did on the ICP guide. I was like, let's just do it now while we're on here. Okay.
Yeah.
So staking dashboard. All right. Looks like I'm connected here. Okay. So then what?
Yep. You have validators you can choose from, and then you can put if you select one of them.
So you just select any of the ones now. I mean, does it matter? So okay, minimum entry is 100 or 1,000, whatever. So let's say it doesn't matter which one you pick. There's no difference.
Yeah, and if you scroll to the right, you'll be able to see like the estimated APY. So you might want to choose one of the higher ones, probably.
Okay.
And then they also have.
Why do they vary so much? I mean, it's not that much, but I don't know.
I don't know. Actually that one I don't know. I don't know if it's related to the fees they're charging or what, but don't choose. There's one that's like, make sure the fees aren't too high. Like there's one that's like 100%. So I wouldn't do that.
Okay, I see. So fees 100%. Okay, so we're looking at the fees column, and we're looking at the estimated APY column. Why? Just out of curiosity, how are these organized? Like, why is the one on top that's on top? Are they on? I see their status, their stake. Like, why is that the default? Like, are they safer or more people? Like, why is it? What is the organization like by default? I don't know.
It looks like it's amount of stake. So the most stake is at the top.
Oh, I see.
From what I can see.
Okay, that is what it looks like. Yeah. Well, they're not in order though, but okay. Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Okay, so yeah, that's the biggest one. Okay, so fuck it, we'll just do that one here. Okay, go to the right. Boom, hit stake.
Yep.
Well, let me make sure I'm the right one. Their fee is 10%. Maybe that's why too. I don't know. They got a better APY than the one that's fee is 7%. So interesting. Okay, we'll do the top one, 5.8%. Hit stake. Stake to validator 45. This will add algo stake to pool 1. I could just hit max here. All right. Okay, minimum balance required. First time stakers must pay an additional. All right, add stake. Come on. All right, I just got to sign my transaction. 4, 3, 2. There we go. We end. The algorand. You can always do a countdown when you know your algorand is gonna go through. All right. So it looks like I staked. That's all I got to do, huh? How do I see?
That's all you got to do.
How do I see what my staking is, like my amount or staked, or if I was going to go to unstaked?
It'll be at there'll be my stakes at the top of the
Okay.
staking
Right. So
dashboard.
now I can close this basically. Go back out here, right?
Yep.
Go to stakes. Oh, my at the top of which one?
It should be at the top of the staking,
So you click on
the
stake.
main page.
I see the first thing when I click on stake is stake on algorand. Let me see here.
Did you just go back to the main page?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you just go to stake and then hit ready again, the RE.
Oh, you got to go back into ready again. Okay. So yeah, I'm
Yep.
back. I'm still in it. I'm still connected. So I'm back and ready. Oh,
Yep,
I
and
see
then
my
it
stake.
should
Oh, there it
be-
is. Okay, I got it. It loaded.
Yep.
Okay, I got you. I overlooked.
There we go.
All right, cool. All right.
Yeah, that's probably good for people
Yep.
to see, and they watch you walk through, and then they know how to do it too now.
Pretty,
So that's
yep,
cool.
pretty straightforward. All right, cool. Well, thanks for bearing with us on
Mhm.
that, audience and chat out there. You know, sometimes though, like have what I call a working meeting where we actually get something done here, because I've been meaning to do this for a while now. And I got to.
That's
I
awesome.
have too many damn wallets, by the way, so I have to like do it in multiple places. The governance used to be kind of a pain in the ass, you know, like, laptops and phones and other people I'm helping and stuff like
Sometimes
that.
that's good. Sometimes that's good because if one thing is attacked,
Bruh.
at least you got the other one.
Always diversify. You know, I learned that from Alan
Mhm.
Greenspan years ago. They asked him what currency, this is before crypto. They said, "What currency do you hold your money in?" This is, he's like the chair of the Fed or whatever. And he's like, "I can't say that because I
Mhm.
use, I can move markets if I speak on that, but always diversify." So I always
Definitely.
quote him when I say that. I diversify when I'm doing scalping. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Oh, she said,
For real.
and it's gone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're done. Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, awesome having you on. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we
Man,
let you go? Any alpha you
tune
want to
into my
drop?
Sunday show. All right, I got a big announcement so I can.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys, I got the collab with Randy Hipper. That's Miss Teen Crypto. Okay, so my song, I got a
Nice.
banger dropping. All right, with Miss Teen Crypto, we're gonna be filming the music video at the Bitcoin conference. If you're there, holla at me. I'll be at the conference. I'll be filming a lot of micro interviews and stuff, and making content as well. And I have brought some fun. I brought a guest with me, some fun people and stuff. And man, yeah, subscribe to my channel. Also, I have a private Discord group, which is more about for trading focus. There's some real heavy hitters in there. Posted my wins this morning. I was short this morning, a bunch of shit coins, and boy, I did well. Closed them all out. Like, man, they hit my targets perfectly. So I post like my not just wins, but we have our setups and when we enter trades and stuff like that. My Discord it's normally $99 a month, but I just started a month ago, so it's free for anybody who uses I only want real traders in there, so it's free for anybody for 1 year if they use my Femex referral code to create an account, which it's free to create an account. Instead of paying me the $99, deposit into your Femex account so you have some money to trade, and you get 1 year for free. So it's in the description on my YouTube videos and everything like that. But just you use my referral code to create an account, and then there's a bot in Discord where you put in your user ID number, and then it verifies it automatically. You click on get free trial, it'll clearly say 1 year for free, and then boom, you're in the group. So that's really what I'm doing is I'm trying to help people out in the community. Got a good community in there. It's real traders, and just even having that one little gatekeep, even though it's free, it keeps out a lot of the riffraff and a lot of the noise. Everybody in there is like a legit trader. You know what I'm saying? So you actually can learn stuff. There's not a bunch of gossip and weirdo stuff going on in there. So I like to keep it solid. Awesome. I've turned away more people, I guess, off that who are just casually looky-loos than I actually have, so I have real traders in there. So that's the main thing is the private group. More content on the way. I do a lot of educational stuff, though. Of course, there's a lot of trading stuff, but something that's just like my principles. Just dropped a video, like the 10 principles of crypto, like of trading. And again, very clear. There's a difference between a long-term hodl, a lot of stuff we talked about, and the belief of Web3 and that kind of stuff, versus technical analysis and teaching trading and that kind of stuff. That's what I really, I always say. Yes, I like teaching people how to make money, but my passion is to keep you from getting wrecked. Okay, so that's what I do. Because in crypto, you never really know. I'm not a meme coin shiller. You're probably not even going to see me do price predictions. I go by momentum. That's kind of the key. And I'm looking at my indicators on this screen over here. I go by momentum, and that's really how trading works. Is how markets work. It doesn't matter if it's TradFi. It doesn't matter if it's crypto. So for short-term trading, that's what I largely focus on. And of course, we can look at the charts for longer term as well. But anyways, appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Like I said, guys, go check out his YouTube channel, Cassius Cuvee. Good stuff on there, and I'm looking forward to that 10 principles video. And who knows, maybe I'll play a guitar track or two on one of your records sometime.
Someone in the chat said, "Just pay me in algo." You guys gotta understand. I dropped that like in a bear market too. You know what I mean? Like I'm bullish in a bear market. Yeah. Like I'm not one of these just fair weather fans. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm out there, making videos with Altcoin Daily when there's no one at NFTLA and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Talking about it. So your boy is relentless.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on, and yeah, we'll have to do this again
For
sometime.
sure, thanks, and maybe I'll have you on my channel too. I just got to, man, I got a busy schedule trying to grow here and work everything out. So I always appreciate my followers and everybody in the chat. I always engage with people who make comments on my videos. I'm always here to support the people.
All right. I appreciate it, man. You take care. Okay.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Later. Well, that was really cool. Appreciate Cassius coming on. I think that was a really cool interview. Always fun to do that kind of stuff. I do have some news to get to. Let me. I don't have a ton of news for you guys yet, but we do have more stuff to get to today. Let me just look at my bookmarks. Oh, one thing I forgot. I was going to ask him about the Sui, what his thoughts were on the Sui Network stuff, but if you guys followed that at all, that was pretty wild. I did make a video about it. It wasn't super popular, but I think it's troubling, when you have this stuff going on, and it brought a lot of talk about decentralization or centralization in this case, because the validators were basically just able to shut down the offending wallets, which is obviously good in the case of a hack. But then what happens when you're talking about actual decentralization? What if they decide, oh, I made a Sui video and they don't like what I said, and then they just cut me off? Like, that's no fun. So that was like all the rage yesterday. We could share a little bit about this. I know I already covered this, but why don't we so this is what happened yesterday. Like I said, this was from Cetus Protocol. It was on Cetus Protocol. And they said, as of earlier today, we have confirmed that an attacker has stolen approximately $223 million from Cetus Protocol. We have taken immediate action to lock our contract, preventing further theft of funds. 162 million on the compromised funds have been successfully paused. We are working with Sui Foundation and other ecosystem members right now on next step solutions with the goal of recovering the remaining stolen funds. The majority of impacted funds are paused, and we are actively pursuing paths to recover the remainder. We have no higher priority and will provide further updates as they become available through this channel. A full incident report will be disclosed later. We are sincerely grateful for your patience. Yeah, so I will be looking for that full incident report, by the way, because I feel like we never really fully got to the bottom of the MyAlgo hack. I remember the April of that year, they released a statement that said the investigation was still going on, and then just never concluded. My guess is that it just never got fully concluded. Sui also, the Sui Network itself had posted this. It said, we've learned that a Cetus smart contract was hacked this morning for approximately 223 million. They basically said the same thing, and Cetus subsequently paused their smart contracts to prevent further theft. Now, some people are splitting these two things, whether I think they talk about this. Yeah, a large number of validators identified the addresses with the stolen funds and are ignoring transactions on those addresses. So there's about 114 validators, which is not nearly as centralized as Algorand. So we talked about this. But if they're able to just shut off, and like I said, it's a good thing for people who are stealing funds. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, I've seen some debate on this. So, all the validators, let's say this happened on Algorand, all the validators could look at that and vote to ignore transactions on there. It could be like a flash vote. You got to do it right away. If a majority of whoever participates wants these blocked, they can block them. And that would be decentralized, because it's, or at least on the scale of decentralization, it would be further toward that, because they're making those decisions. So I can kind of see a thing back and forth on both of those. Snail says too much control. However, that's cool. It's cool that a bad actor could be stopped. That's what NCT Polyswarm is supposed to help prevent. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, Caitlin said great interview. Hey, I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Michael Turris, yeah, you were enjoying that, huh? So give me a shout out in your next video. So Everyday Algonaut was saying, and we're kind of going back to the node thing. He said easiest way is just through folks are tiny. It is pretty easy, but it's hard to tell. It's the transparency isn't there, which kind of makes me mad. Everyday asked, did you move your algo to the staking contract? Not yet. I don't know if you were asking him or me, but I didn't yet. But I'm it's an ongoing debate that I'm having. Everyday Algonaut says, not your keys, not your crypto. True. Yeah, yeah, it'd be cool. I know he's got a lot of people to come on, but yeah, I'd definitely go on his channel if he wanted me to. Let's see. I'm gonna poke around my bookmarks here. Yeah, I wanted to watch that later. I had a lot of Near stuff. Yeah, I did a big thing on Near this week. I do want to try out this Pumpopoly on Near. Like it sounds like Monopoly, but with some crypto elements. Sometimes that can be fun, and sometimes that can be kind of wacky. So one of the things that came up with Near is that they're really heavily focused on AI. And so, last week I made a video, or actually it was this week. Earlier this week, I made a video about artificial intelligence and whether HBAR or Algorand is better positioned. I think Hedera is better positioned right now, but that doesn't mean both can't be successful in AI. And I think both have the speed and decentralization to deliver. Well, actually, that's one thing against HBAR is it's not nearly as decentralized as Algorand is. But I think their peer-to-peer gossip protocol is helpful. And Algorand, did we ever hear, did they add P2P? I know I kept seeing that was in the works, but I haven't actually seen it come up yet. Anyway, so I made that video about Hedera and Algorand, but Near Protocol has been really AI focused from a pretty early time, and they've got a lot of stuff in the works. Like this one, we're building the first decentralized protocol for AI agent swarms, designed for transparency, tokenization, and growth. Oh, this one's kind of interesting. See, I'd save this one. Over the last 6 months, an average of 970,000 new accounts per month on Algorand. So, I mean, like, that's a lot, and new accounts, like, that doesn't necessarily translate to users because people have multiple accounts. Cassius was talking about that. I've got I've got 2 accounts because I had to rekey during my algo hack, which I briefly mentioned in the interview. So, but the still, like, I'm sure a big portion of these, and you can look at monthly active users. In fact, was it Lunar Crush? Is that the one? Okay, I just go to it. Is this the thing I was thinking of? It's a cool looking site. Yeah, here's mentions. Sentiment. Yeah, let's sort by sentiment and see what happens. Something called Made Safe. Oh, this is tough because they include like everything, not just the top 100. So you can't really trust all these things. They're 100% because there's like 5 people. Okay. Well, why don't we just go back to market cap and then let's see. So Bitcoin sentiment is about 82%. Ethereum is a little bit higher at 83%. That's interesting. XRP is only 64%. That's really interesting. Solana 83. I think this stuff is interesting. So what's algorand? And then we'll back up. Wait, are they not on here? Oh, here they are. So they got other stuff on here that CoinMarketCap doesn't. Interesting. So you got 86%. That's pretty good. Oddly enough, World Liberty is like 92%, but 86%, that's really high. Cosmos is a little bit higher, 87%. Yeah, I was going to mention when he mentioned that thing with where Algorand kind of calculates the fees for you, so you can complete the transaction instead of, or it leaves a little in the tank so you can complete the transaction. Yeah, I have that problem on Cosmos. Like I've had to like take some rewards and just keep them aside so I can pay the gas fees whenever I'm restaking. So what's like hedera? So Algorand was 86. Near is 92. People really like Near. Surprised my Near video didn't do better than. Yeah, hedera 86. Same as Algorand. Interesting. That's really interesting. Odin Nosferatu, welcome, says, bro, you should have deployed nodes instead. Feels bad. What do you mean it feels bad? Well, like I said, I'm right now Oh, do you think he should have done a node instead of Ready? I think Ready is a good option. When someone says that they want the least complicated thing that they can do, I think Ready is a good option for that. Catlin says, yeah, Near looks good again. I think it does. I mean, I've held Near for a while. Right now I'm still like 2x up. I was more like 4 or 5x up for a while. So I remember you brought it up before it had its last run. Near, yeah. I've done Near for a while. Right now sitting on Coinbase, so I don't. They changed the wallet, so you couldn't. I had the Near wallet, and I was staking on Near, and it was kind of cool because the official Near wallet had like kind of like a portal to the ecosystem, which I thought was really cool. And I'm kind of sad that that's gone now. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Near. I think it's great. But I just haven't had the chance to. The problem is there's so many ecosystems. It's hard to have the chance to get into them all. You know what I mean? I wonder what's the lowest in the top 100. I see 58%. I'm just going to scroll through really quick and just see what I mean, most of them are high here. 58. Yeah, Leo token. I don't know much about Leo. Wrapped ETH is not great. Oh, 45% DAI. Yeah, people don't like DAI. That was another coin. That was another coin that used to be able to earn yield on in Coinbase. So I just did that. Some people don't like Jito Stake Soul. It's pretty low. Nothing's like super. Nothing's below 50. Well, no. Did we have? No. Nothing's below 50%. Very interesting. Yeah. Metter's Genesis. I've never heard of that. It's at 100%. Kelp DAO. This is really interesting because there's just a lot of coins that I don't recognize. This one's right at 50. Hex Cube. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Oh. Even Dog with Hat is pretty high. Do you guys remember when I thought it was Dog Wife Hat? Like I thought wife hat was a thing, like a hat that your wife would wear. I was wrong about that. Chainlink and these agents things will go crazy, says Catlin. Yeah. The agents are where AI is going to get super duper interesting, like really interesting, I think. I kind of can't wait for that day. In fact, the agents are around now, and I'm kind of exploring them. There's one called Lindy that's supposed to be really, really good. Oh, Snail's out. He says, yeah, have a great weekend, Snail. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being in the chat. super duper fun. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Kind of wanted to go a little longer, maybe another 10 minutes. Let's see what else is in crypto news. Oops. Analysts downplay Trump's tariff threat on EU goods, Apple devices as Bitcoin briefly slips under 109,000. Like, what does that have to, what do those two things have to do with each other? I think they just wanted to get that Bitcoin news in there, because otherwise, what are they talking about? I mean, I guess it's kind of related because they're interesting. Just trying to see if anything. Hype token, yeah, I've done a little bit on Hyper token, not too much. Hype token hits new high above $35 as Hyperliquid open interest surpasses a record $9 billion. Very, very interesting. Yeah, demand for Bitcoin, ETH, and Hype derivatives topped the charts on Hyperliquid's decentralized exchange. One trader, James Wynn, accumulated the platform's largest Bitcoin-based position to date, worth over 1 billion with 40x leverage. Wow. So that's leverage trading makes me really nervous. I mean, that's you can do really well, but boy, if you get it wrong, you're in a lot of trouble. Hyperliquid, it's up 7.46%. That's pretty good. Perpetual DEX built on its own layer 1 blockchain witnessed a surge in open interest this week as Bitcoin raced to fresh all-time highs. Yeah, I actually didn't know a lot about Hyperliquid, so there was some kind of like, wasn't there some big sell-off, or am I thinking of something else? I think I'm thinking of something else. Very interesting. Everyday Algonaut says Bitcoin all-time high on pizza day. It is pizza day. I wonder, like, what it feels like to be that guy that spent, what did he spend, 10,000 Bitcoin on pizza? You know, like we were talking, because I was a pretty early user on Twitter, and there were some people I was Twitter friends with that were like really hyper. I mean, they were Bitcoin maxis when Bitcoin was the only thing. There wasn't any other coins, and they'd be talking about how Bitcoin was, you know, how Bitcoin was, you know, at the time I was first got introduced to Bitcoin, they were like less than, I mean, it was several to a dollar. They might have even been worth a penny at that time. It was really low, and then I saw them go up and up, and every time it happened, I would think, oh well, that's probably the end of that, and then it wasn't, and I'm like, you know what? At some point, I'm like, hey, this thing keeps. Someone put together, and I was telling Cassius, someone put together, you know, an average, like the average Bitcoin returns, and when I saw it laid out like that, I'm like, oh. So there's all this volatility, but overall, if you ignore the volatility over time, it goes up a lot. So I just decided, yeah, I should probably start buying this. So I started buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin, and then it popped off. I made a bunch of money, sold it all because I thought, well, I started seeing some crazy stuff. You know, I saw people like selling, you know, like taking out second mortgages to buy Bitcoin when it was, you know, when it was really pumping. I'm like, ooh, this is bad. This sounds like a bubble. This sounds like a Beanie Baby bubble. I'm like, I'm getting out of this. And I'm like, I'm up like 4 or 5x. Take your profits. And I didn't have like a ton of money in it, you know. Nowadays, I think, yeah, honestly, like for Bitcoin, I should have just bought, and when it pumped up, just stop buying for a little while until it comes down again. And just kept repeating that cycle. I'd probably have a ton more Bitcoin. I'd have a ton more, much higher net worth than I do today. But, you know, it's like I won. It's just I won less than I could have won. What do you guys, what's your biggest, 20K for 2 pizzas. Okay, so I thought it was just like 10,000 for 1 pizza, but he bought 2 for 10 a piece. Interesting. Catlin says, imagine being someone who went all Bitcoin Cash and never moved compared to Bitcoin. True. Yeah, that'd be pretty bad, wouldn't it? What's your guys? Do you guys have any like stories like that where you totally screwed up on because there's a learning curve. Like when you first come into it, you think, oh, just buy it and it goes up eventually, right? You know, I didn't know anything about the cycles probably until around, probably when I started making content around 2021. I realized this was like a major thing. Oh, I know what I forgot. This is interesting. So following up on our Sui Network news, Cetus offers 6 million white hat deal to recover stolen ETH after hackers' activity is blocked on Sui. So they're trying to offer 6 million to get the 56 million of the ETH back because it got swapped over to ETH. And they said there'd be no further legal action or public action be taken if the settlement is accepted. Now, the Sui, as we covered, the Sui validators previously blocked transactions from actions linked to the attacker. So, but if they got the ETH out, they probably didn't swap at all, but they got enough ETH that that's still a pretty good haul for them. But also, this is a pretty good haul if this is true and they live up to their word that they're not going to take any legal or public action. I mean, 6 million is still a pretty good haul. But maybe they don't trust them. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they say, yeah, we say that, but there's nothing that stopped them from doing that. They could still turn around and be like, you know what? You know what? You're screwed. We're going to go after you anyway. But yeah, we were just looking at Hyperliquid, like Sui took a hit, but I bought Sui at like $1. So I'm still way up on Sui. I just wish I bought more. But who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. I think it'll probably recover because like Algorand had a big tiny man hack. It had the my algo hacks, and you know what? Still fine. Still recovered. Although some people say maybe it didn't. Odin Nosferatu says, is like that really only gains small amounts from stake. Well, I mean, that's not really what we're talking about here, though. We're talking about they've got ETH and they want to sell it for. Did I miss something? Someone else talk about that? Catlin says Alchemon. Oh man. Yeah, and they're trying to make a comeback. That didn't seem like it was received very well. We'll see if they actually go. I still haven't gotten I saw some people were beta testing the new Fractal Monsters collectible card game. The founder said he was going to get me in on that, and then I didn't hear anything about it, so I don't really know what's going on with that. Everyday Algonaut says, I wonder if other chains also spend over 10 million per quarter and where they are getting their money from. So Hyperliquid is the only one I've seen numbers for, and they have a much smaller team and they spend quite a bit less. So I don't know. And so they make up, I think Hyperliquid makes more than enough. That was from Non-Fungible Domains. John from Non-Fungible Domains shared that. And I kind of wonder where that, I don't know where he got that from. One of the things I said about Algorand is they do the transparency report and they kind of get dinged for it because no one else is really doing a transparency report. So no one's like sharing the stuff that people can attack them with. So I kind of see where they're coming from to a degree. Catlin says I wasted a lot of money there. My first big loss. Yeah. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, that sucks. I put in a little bit, but I'm always a little skeptical of some of these platforms. Do you remember Avatars? Like that was actually a really fun game. Like I really liked the game. And I don't know why they had to shut it down if they just weren't making enough to cover like the cloud services or because like even when it was in beta, I'm like, well, this game seems ready to go. It's fun. It doesn't have to be like this big thing. I mean, I think they wanted like different arenas and different this and that. I'm like, well, the game works. I just wish there was a way to like keep it going because it was a genuinely fun game. Like it was a 4-player game. It was very strategic. I think the only challenge was it was kind of hard to find. It was kind of hard to get into a game if you didn't organize it. Ooh, I'm starting to lose my voice. Yeah, I guess that's here. I'm gonna. It does take a while for the screen to change over, but anyway, guys, thanks so much for being here today. I think we had a lot of fun, and it was great. For big shout out to Cassius for coming on. I think I still have his. Yeah, let me put his channel in the chat one more time. I do. I really want to watch that 10 principles video that he said he's got coming out. I think that'll be really interesting. And yeah, he knows a lot of those guys like Altcoin Daily and AJ. Well, I know AJ too, I guess, but I probably got to go to more crypto conferences. I think I'm going to go to ETH Denver next year. Every day, Algonaut says I got a few Avatar NFTs. Also wonder what happened there. Yeah, they didn't really say specifically. I know they did make an announcement at least on their Discord, so we know that they didn't just go dark, which I think is really really bad. Yeah, so appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, shout out to Cassius. I thought that was great. Thanks, Catlin, for being here. Thanks for your time. Appreciate you guys being here and supporting the channel. And like and subscribe if you haven't already. I think a lot of people probably are subscribed here, but if you're not, be sure to hit that button. Otherwise, I'm Frugal BC, and I will see you in the future.